Occupy Sarasota today?
Yeah, we're here to occupy Sarasota. Personally, I believe the biggest reason people are out here is to have a forum for dialogue and discussion and debate. I think it's important that people start talking about it, and that's what I think the Occupy movement is aiming to achieve. People talking about what's going on now. There's obviously a feeling of grievance and anger among all Americans who are participating in Occupy Wall Street.
Why?
Because I think people are upset about how things ended up post the 2008 financial crisis. I think that hearing about like 8-figure bonuses going to these people working on Wall Street, while there's this saying, banks got bailed out, we got sold out, and you see all these people losing their homes, losing their pensions, they're losing a lot of money. And I think people are upset that there's this huge, what seems to be an income disparity between us at the 1% and the 99%. And people want to close that. But I think the most important thing is that people are here and they're trying to talk about it and figure out a new method, a new route, figure out what's going on now. But we all know there's something wrong with the system. And as far as demands go, I think it's important that we have a general consensus of, hey, we're upset, we want something to change in the system, that's our demand. But we're not policymakers either way. We're not a political party, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but right now what needs to happen is people are out here and they're talking.
Do you think anything will change?
I think something's going to change. I think there's a movement going through Americans right now. People are really upset. First it was the world, and now it's really coming back down to America. There's things happening in China, you've seen Greece and Spain, and everybody's finances are kind of going haywire, and it's because the investment banks created these crazy exotic things called derivatives that are just made up of nothing, and made up of bad loans that they sold off and then bet against and won money against, and it was they were just making money kind of out of almost nothing at all. And I think
is that the 1% you're talking about?
I would say, yeah, I would say it's people up top who knew that they were making up this story, and it was hard for people to follow along. If you look at there's things called CDOs or collateralized debt obligations, and it's just kind of like pieces of bad loans from every which way, from anything, mortgages on cars and houses, and they just threw it together. And if you look at one, you actually can't tell where all the pieces came from. And I think that doesn't really make sense as a loan, and it didn't make sense that banks were giving out loans at 0% interest, because how does that make sense for a bank? How do you give out money and then not earn interest on the principal?
Who were they giving that out to?
They were giving out to pretty much anyone. They didn't really, I read this book called The Big Short by Michael Lewis, and I thought it was very informative. There's also a movie called The Inside Job. I thought that was very informative. That was narrated by Matt Damon. And essentially they weren't doing good background checks on people. They weren't really checking their credit. They were just kind of handing these things out. And what was the worst part about them was you had these 2-year contracts and 0% interest for these loans, and then once the contract expired, the interest would fly, every which way. The banks had total control of it, and they were giving it to people who really couldn't afford it. And I think part of the responsibility is held on the Americans who took it out, but part of it is on the educational system. Why aren't we teaching people in school about their finances and how to work with their finances? It's something everyone has to deal with. It should be a course taught in every level of college and every level of high school. It shouldn't be foreign to people. People should know what a loan is. They should know what credit is and how to handle it and how to not get bad credit. And these are my personal experiences, obviously. But that's kind of how I feel. That's why I'm out here, because I want to talk to people and see what they think about this and see what they think we could do and what should be happening now, what is happening now. Everything's 2020, and I think we're in it right now, and it's hard to get that 2020 vision. But that's why I'm here.
Right on. What are you doing out here today?
I'm one of the organizers, one of 4 organizers with Occupy Sarasota. We're out here to bring awareness to the American people what's going on around the world and in our nation. And we're in solidarity with Occupy Wall Street. And you can get all their information by going to occupywallstreet.org or going to occupytogether.org. That's where we get all our information and how we stay true to their policy, what's going on, so we make sure that this whole movement for Occupy Sarasota does not become a political battleground. It's a big message out there that, you know, I've got all these sides that are trying to say, oh, they're with this, they're with that, you know, and they don't know what's going on. And the point is that they're scared of that. They're actually scared that we're not telling them what we want right away, because we as the people have to figure that out as the people. You know, and that's the one thing they kind of misunderstand about us. You know, we're the ones who vote them into office, and we're the ones who change the policies, and we're the ones that can make the changes by being precise with our decisions. Knowing that, look, we have to look at everybody around us. We have to look at our kids, our wife, our mothers, our fathers, our brothers, our sisters, and our friends, and what they're all going through. I mean, everyone has, in the 1%, have a family member that is a 99%. So when we ask them a question like, well, how do you feel about taking away from your own people that are part of us, that is still under your roof, that feel that they're part of the 99%? I mean, there's a few of them out there and they're giving back, and we love that.
I've seen some people like that who have been out there,
And there's not one set person that we're against. I think it's more or less the big message is get the money out of politics. Quit buying the policies that are corrupting everything and making the people look out to be the bad guys when we're not. When all we want is our constitutional rights. And I think that's where it really boils down to, is our constitutional rights, and as well as our education. You know, our education has been written in so many ways that no one can really tell you what the truth is, because there's so many valuables to it. I think we're rewriting history at this moment, and I think this occupation is going to be around for a few years. What's happening right now is you got a three-way split in the system, which we already had. We had the rich, middle class, and the poor, and that system is still there. It's now turning to the 1%, the 53%, and the 99%. And you know, to be honest with you, the 1% have already taken so much from the 99%. We had no more to give. So that's why we're out here. We have no more to give you. So you can take what we already gave you and be done with it, or you can give back, or you can go after the 53%, which is what the next move is going to be, and then we're going to get all those people to join our side, because they're not going to want to lose their homes and their cars and their jobs.
Who are the 53%?
According to the figures, there's only 53% of Americans pay taxes. This is where they get the 53% number.
Okay.
That, from what I've seen from all the posts, they all have jobs, which is great. We're out here, we're protecting our own rights as a person. But we're also trying to protect other people's rights that, you know, can't come out to something like this. We have about 3,479 people as of this morning at 9:30 when I checked last. You can go to our page at facebook.com, Occupy Sarasota. We're also on Twitter, Occupy Sarasota. We also have a webpage, occupysarasota.com or .org. And if anybody wants to follow the movement closer than just on the local level of Sarasota, then they can go to occupytogether.org or occupywallstreet.org, and all the information is there. Basically, how we're going to be organized here is how they're organized there. So we're following their footsteps and their model of occupying as well as down here.
All right.